Hello and welcome along. My name is Azzavhar or Azza, and in this video we're going to take a look at 10 awesome indie games on PC. Some of these games might be available on other platforms, but in this video we're going to focus on PC. These games are created by independent developers, generally with a small team and a small budget. These games are all awesome in their own way, and because they don't have the AAA budget, they might have flown below the radar. You can find links in the video description to check out all of these games.
The experimental medicine you've been injected with during the medical checkout suppresses your need for sleep.
Beholder is set in a George Orwell-inspired land that's people are oppressed by the state. You play the role of a landlord that's been tasked by the state to spy, peep, eavesdrop, and profile tenants. It's your job to keep an eye on what everyone is up to. You can plant cameras, you can peep through tenants' keyholes. If a tenant is out, you can unlock their apartment door to gain entry and plant spy cameras all over their apartment. The state will contact you via phone and give you tasks on profiling various different tenants. Sometimes the state will try to push for tenants to get taken to prison. You then have to investigate and talk to these tenants to find out what's going on. It's then up to you to decide if you want to side with the state or you want to side with this person and try and help them out. Every decision that you make affects the way the story unfolds. This game has hours of fun. You get to play your own way, whether that be on the team of the oppressive state or the oppressed people. Dead Age is a zombie apocalypse survival RPG with turn-based combat and permanent death. You have to manage survivors, craft materials, and make difficult decisions, defend your camp against hordes of undead, and explore the wilderness looking for survivors. Everything about this game works really well. The audio, the visual, and the game mechanics all work very well together. The game will give you various different events, and you can decide how to act during these events, and depending on what you do, you may find that you gain another survivor in your camp to help you out, or you could lose a survivor. You can level up your character, and you can allocate various points into different skill sets, such as medic, melee, or ranged combat. It's kinda like playing an old school Final Fantasy game in a zombie apocalypse setting. Distrust is an isometric survival adventure in which you experience a helicopter crash and you have to survive in an Arctic environment. You can play this single player or online co-op for up to 3 players. You have to explore abandoned Arctic bases for food and supplies. You initially start with 2 character slots and you can choose from 3 different characters. As you play through the game, you'll actually unlock up to 15 characters, each with their own special abilities and survival skills. You'll have to manage your character's basic needs, such as sleep, heat, and hunger. Failure to meet these needs will send them into madness. After solving the puzzles and the trials of the zone, you'll be able to make your way over to the next area. Just be careful, you'll need to be on the lookout for some strange creatures in the dark. Opus: The Day We Found Earth is a heartfelt space exploration game. You play as a small robot called Emeth, who was created by Dr. Lisa, who is a crew member of the Opus, which is a giant space telescope. The game is set tens of millions of years in the future, and by this point Earth has become just a myth. It's your job to use the giant space telescope to locate and find Earth. By locating and scanning nearby stars, you make progress through the game and unlock extra areas of the spaceship. When a new area of the spaceship is unlocked, you can examine and find things within there that help tell the story and tell secrets about the characters. In telescope mode, you'll follow hints and guidance trying to locate Earth. You'll find various other planets along the way, and you'll also have the ability to name those planets. A beautiful space exploration game, heartfelt characters, and a very relaxing soundtrack.
Try to follow me, and we shall see what you're made of. Hup.
Try of Friendship and Madness is a puzzle platformer exploration game with a twist. You gain the mystical power of something called the Try, which allows you to create triangles by clicking 3 different points. As long as this triangle turns yellow, it means you can stand on it and make your way up. You can then create multiple triangles to ascend up giant towers, make your way across gaps, and generally fully explore each and every area. You'll find yourself wanting to explore every nook and cranny because there's hidden statues on every single level. It kinda reminds me of collecting all the secrets from a game like Tomb Raider 2. The game will give you a slight nudge in the direction that it wants you to go. It's then up to you to use your creativity to figure out how to get there.
Combo. Ultra combo.
Donuts and Justice is a fast-paced 2D shoot-'em-up where you play as a super cop in the 1980s trying to defend their city against gangs, violence, and corruption. It's kinda like Streets of Rage, but you fight with guns instead. It's got 2-player local co-op and it supports Xbox 360 and Xbox One controllers. It's got 5 action-packed stages and very challenging bosses. After you complete the game, you'll also unlock Boss Rush mode. The game also throws in civilians, which you'll need to try and avoid shooting, because if you do, your gun will jam for a few seconds. It's actually a really challenging game. It's easy to pick up and play, but difficult to beat. Rollout is a fighter game in which 2 to 4 players fight against each other in various different environments. The game has 25 playable characters, including some guest fighters from games such as Yooka-Laylee and Dead Cells. This game also has a rage meter mechanic which allows you to power up your character and unleash special attacks. It's got online ranked matches, competitive tournaments, and local play for up to 4 players. Crimson Land is a fast-paced top-down shooter with a touch of RPG elements. The game will put you up against thousands of aliens, giant spiders, mutant lizards, zombies, and loads more. Unlock over 30 weapons, such as flamethrowers, machine guns, shotguns, and assault rifles. You get to choose from over 50 perks, such as increased fire rate, rapid reload, shields, and bombs. This game goes up to 4 players, local co-op, and it's got various different game modes, such as Quest mode, which is the main story, Survival mode, survive against waves of enemies, Rush mode, where you have to survive as long as possible with no perks or bonuses, and Typo Shooter mode, where you'll need to type out a word and press enter in order to shoot the enemy. Fast-paced, top-down shooter action. Moonlighter is an action RPG with roguelite elements. This game has 2 different sides. One side is about being a shopkeeper, buying and selling items, upgrading the shop, expanding the village. And the other side is about exploring dungeons, finding treasure chests, fighting enemies and bosses, uncovering secrets and artifacts and bringing them back to the shop. The idea of the game is to make gold by selling these items in your shop. You'll then need to upgrade your weapons, your armor, and your potions to go deeper into the dungeons. The bosses and the enemies will get progressively harder. There's a lot of secrets and mysteries surrounding these dungeons that you'll need to uncover as you progress through the game. Moonlighter is kind of like playing Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, but with a shopkeeper element added on top. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is an emotional and epic fairy tale journey in which you control an older brother with one side of the controller and a younger brother with the other side of the controller. The game begins with the 2 brothers carrying their ill father over to the village doctor. The doctor then tells them that the only way to save their father is to gain water from the Tree of Life. And so begins an epic journey. The older brother is the stronger of the 2 and can do things like pull heavy levers and boost his younger brother up to high places, whilst the younger brother can slip through small gaps and crawl into tight spaces. You'll stumble upon various different puzzles where both brothers will have to work together to overcome the odds. This game is done to a very high standard. The audio, the visual, the game mechanics, and the story are all done amazingly well. You'll also find yourself searching and exploring for various different secret achievements along the journey.